Welcome to week 8 of the Quarantine Life series that we find ourselves in. And I tell you, during this time, it's got some of us maybe behaving a little differently. Take a look.
Sound tests. 1, 2. Check. 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 Hey birds, if you could shut up. Shut up. You stop talking, chirping, tweeting. Let's start this again.
Hey Breakaway, it's Joe here. Quarantine day number 752. It's raining here at my house in Rochester Hills. Not an enjoyable way to spend quarantine, but like most of you, I'm trying to find things that I can do to pass the time. For me, I have turned to grilling. This is my little red kettle grill. I've been grilling everything from steaks to sausage to chicken to hot dogs to Chex Mix. Anything you can do, I put it on the grill. Today, I'm gonna take you on a little tour of what we got, so bear with me. Look at that. We've got some chicken, we've got some onions, we've got some zucchini, all in the rain. So charcoal grill, obviously. So if you're bored, you wanna hit me up, I'll give you some grilling tips. If your family has a propane grill, make sure you wish them a happy Mother's Day for me. And if you have a charcoal grill like me, well then we'll see you and I'll give you some tips. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Hello, edgers and breakawayers. Poem here. For the last 6 weeks, I've actually been in Texas quarantining with my family, spending lots of times with animals and painting. I'm here to tell you guys it is so scary to go shopping. Everyone is so intense. So yeah, that was actually the only time I ever left the house, to be honest. But I did in fact start doing Tai Chi. Just kidding, that only happened once. And I started running for the first time ever. Spent a lot of time with my cousins. And drive home was pretty long and not super enjoyable. But I am home and I am so happy. But don't look at my room, it's so messy. Okay, bye. I love you.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Coming to you live from a tree in the middle of the front yard of our apartment complex. Sorry, it's not exciting. I found this stick, though, so that's cool. But hey, we have been talking about this series, the Big Picture series, looking at the life of Joseph. And we want to zoom in on a moment in a minute here. But when I was in middle school, there was this guy in our class, and he kind of had this interesting way of running. And so my friends and I decided to make fun of him because we said that he ran like a chicken. And I knew it was wrong, but I did it anyways. And there were some negative consequences that came out of that moment. And I probably could have avoided those consequences had I done what I knew was right and not make fun of this guy. There's this story in Joseph's life where he's given an option. Doing the right thing or doing the wrong thing. And unlike my situation, Joseph does the right thing, but the outcome is still a little bit not what you would expect. Because Potiphar's wife, Potiphar was the guy who owned Joseph. Joseph was a slave, and Joseph's moved up the ranks in Potiphar's home to being second in command, essentially. But Joseph, we read in the Bible, was, how do I put this? Joseph was hot. I mean, hot. And Potiphar's wife was taking notice, and so she approaches Joseph, probably after weeks and months of maybe checking him out and who knows what else, but she approaches him and she says, Joseph, you and me, come on now, let's make it happen. She's trying to come on to Joseph, and Joseph, in the moment, he does the right thing and he runs away. He flees, kind of like the Bible tells us to flee from moments like that. But in the process, Potiphar's wife had grabbed a hold of Joseph's jacket, of his shirt, and in Joseph running away, it's ripped off, and Potiphar's wife is holding this coat of Joseph's, and she uses it to say, hey, this slave of yours, Potiphar, he tried to attack me, he tried to assault me, and she falsely accuses Joseph. And even though Joseph responded by doing the right thing in the moment, there's some negative consequences that come out from that because Joseph is thrown into prison for a crime that he doesn't do. Now, you and I, when we're faced with these situations where we have a option of doing the right thing or doing the wrong thing, more often than not, it's easier to do the wrong thing because it's just easier. Doing the right thing is not always an easy thing to do, because we look at the life of Joseph and we say, hey, even if we do the right thing, sometimes there's not a payoff. Sometimes there's not positive consequences that come out of that. But Joseph trusted God. Joseph was at a place that even though he couldn't see the big picture, in that moment he understood that if he would do the right thing, it may not work out for him, but at least in God's eyes, he would still be doing the right thing. And thousands of years later, when we're reading the story, we see that it worked out well for Joseph, in that, as we'll look in the coming weeks, the trajectory of his life, it works out for him. But are you and I willing to be in a place where even if we do the right thing, and even if there's no payoff, do we trust God to do that? And my hope and my prayer for you is that, and for me as well, is that we would be a community of people that even though we don't know what the big picture is, that we would still, in those moments where we're tempted to do the wrong thing, that we would still choose to do the right thing.
And that's exactly it, Thaddeus. Sometimes we're faced in life with temptations, and sometimes it's obvious, right? Like in Joseph's scenario where Potiphar's wife is making a move on him, and she's like, "How you doing?" And he's like, "I want nothing to do with that," right? Like it's clear, black and white. He chooses no. He in fact runs in the opposite direction. I mean, sometimes when we are faced with a decision like that, maybe we're even tempted, the answer is to flee, it's to run. But sometimes the decisions that we're faced with, we don't know, right? Like there's a little mystery involved. It's more of a gray situation. Sometimes we even just act without even thinking at all. I remember when I was in high school, and some of you Ed students have heard this story before, so I won't go into great detail, but when I was in high school, me and some of my buddies, we thought it would be fun to prank my youth pastor, and so we went to the park, we dug up a tree, like it was kind of like a big weed. We dug it up, threw it in my car, we drove over to his house. He didn't have a tree in his front yard, so we decided to plant the tree right in his front yard. I mean, you can't TP, you can't throw toilet paper on a non-existing tree in someone's front yard. So we had to put the tree in the yard first, right? Like those moments in our lives, oftentimes we just make choices, right? We just do something without thinking. But so often, what would it look like in our life if we could just pause, take a moment? I mean, yeah, there's those obvious moments where you just run in the opposite direction. But then there's these moments where we're faced with kind of a gray area. I'm not really sure what to do. Maybe you're walking through the mall and you find a $20 bill on the ground and you're like, I'm not really sure what I should do with this. I mean, is it $20 to go buy some lunch, or what should I do in that situation? And here's my hope, my challenge for all of us. As we look at the life of Joseph, we see that there are many times where he was faced with decisions and he didn't know what the outcome would be. But he had to make the right choice. And we're faced with difficult situations and choices all the time. Where are we going to go to school after high school? What classes are we going to take in high school? And do I take this job or do I not take this job? Do I commit myself to this extracurricular when it's going to bleed over into these other responsibilities that I may have? I mean, should I get a job while I'm in high school, or should I not? I mean, will it take too much time away from other commitments that we have in our life? Like there's all sorts of choices that we're faced with that there may not always be a clear right or wrong. And so my encouragement comes from the book of Proverbs in chapter 19, verse 20. It says this: listen to advice and accept instruction, and in the end you will be wise. And it's this idea that we seek wisdom from the people in our life. I mean, it's great to have lots of friends around and we can bounce ideas and get their thoughts. But my encouragement for all of us is seek those who've been down the road a little further, who have maybe some more wisdom from life experiences, and ask and listen and receive that instruction, because according to the scriptures, according to the proverb, we will then experience wisdom in life by receiving that instruction. So here are our two challenges today. One, when there's those moments of temptation, we want you to flee, run in the opposite direction, chase after the right choice. And two, when we're left with these moments in our life and decisions that we need to make, and it doesn't seem to be a right or a wrong answer, my encouragement is to seek wise counsel, as the proverb says. Look to others around you that may be able to give you wisdom and instruction to help you make the better choice for your life. And I want to encourage you all, we love spending each week. I know it's virtual and we can't wait to meet together, but my hope is that in the next week and days ahead, that we can begin to continue to have this conversation of what do we do when we don't know what to do. Run from temptation, seek wise counsel, and always, always look to the Lord in moments of challenge. Thanks so much for tuning in. We can't wait to see you next week.
Before I wrap up, I just want to say, this past Monday, it was Aaron's birthday, and if you did not wish Aaron a happy birthday, then you need to do it right now. So take some time, sing happy birthday, record it, send it to Aaron. It'll be awesome. He'll hate it, but that's okay. Aaron, happy belated birthday. How you doing, man? Ouch, that hurt so much.